You want my love, baby, earn it. Yeah, dancing on my own. See if you can follow. Got me feeling alive. Watch me go. Lose control. Is this real? All I feel. Break the signs. Every time it's real, real, real. I do what I want. Ooh, I do what I want. Ooh, I do what I want. Ooh, I do what I want. I want. Hear me now. I do what I want. Are you ready now? 'Cause it won't be easy. Only get what you work for. Gotta go all out whenever you see me. Don't be wasting my time. Watch me go. Lose control. Is this real? All I feel. Break the signs. Every time let's be real, be real, be real. I do what I want. Ooh, I do what I want. Ooh, I do what I want. Ooh, I do what I want. Hear me now. Watch me go. Lose control. Is this real? All I feel. Break the signs. Every time let's be real, be real, be real. I do what I want. I do what I want.
Good morning. What's new, pussycat? Happy Saturday! Proof of life for the second time in the same month. Oh, not everyone is as fortunate as I am when it comes to Hurricane. What was this one? Milton, who I named Uncle Milty. Y'all, I know that came from some game I used to play as a kid. If my very life depended on it, I couldn't tell you what that game was. I know two of the big game companies back then, and I think they might have merged. Hasbro and what the hell was it? Milton something. Not Milton Berle. Hey, Brittany, how are you? I swear, the game was either Candyland or maybe Chutes and Ladders. I mean, we're going back to the Stone Age, okay? Back to when board games were a thing. You didn't have video games. Those came later. But I swear to you, I played some game as a kid where there was something in the game, that was called Uncle Milty. Hey, Milton Bradley. Yes. Thank you so much. Listen, sister, thank you. I appreciate it. That would have made me crazy. Hey, Teresa, how are you? Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, you are. And yes, some of you might remember this headpiece from, well, it's been at least a week ago. I think. Oh, that's right. I can't go back and check because poof, it's gone. Because apparently a very thin-skinned petty bitch didn't like something I was saying. And all of a sudden, in the middle of my live, Crazy Nurse texted me and was like, what the hell happened? And I said, "Oh shit, am I gone?" Because see, it still will show me that the counter is going. So thank God. Who knows how long my long-winded ass would have talked if Crazy Nurse had not been kind enough to let me know. Bitch, somebody shut you down. Yes, I got in trouble. Well, I got a warning. All I know is I only spoke about 2 people. One of which I can't believe I'm going to say the following quote to her credit, because I've never said that about her until now. But to that certain someone's credit, Bullhorn Betty, she has never struck me. So, the hat, but you know, the only other person I talked about was PerPlexACuted. So I don't know, you know, I'm sure it's just a strange coincidence. But it was awful strange. So I thought, you know what? I think I was trying to answer some legitimate questions that PerPlexACuted had. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, yes, I know her YouTube name is Perplexed True Crime, or TC, or whatever it is. I have come up with a new nom de plume for her, PerPlexACuted TC, because you know, she, much like the aforementioned Bullhorn Betty, she seems to have a persecution complex. So I thought I was trying to do my part to answer some very legitimate questions. You can't hear me? Oh, Legal Pickle, please tell me it's just you and not me. Okay. All right. I'm going to say by Brittany's comment that it's hopefully it's just you. Okay. Okay, good. Thank God, Legal Pickle. Thank you. I'm glad to hear it. Now we can all hear each other. So yes, I don't. I mean, I'm just speculating. I don't know. But I thought that I was, you know, I hear a lot of bewilderment. You know, PerPlexACuted doesn't seem to understand a lot of the reasons that, you know, well, to hear her tell it, she's judged much more harshly and unfairly than everybody, you know, like if you've ever had interactions with, or if you've ever been a 12-year-old, you know, like when you get in trouble at school or you have a little fight with one of your friends. And of course, you're going to hear all the reasons why it's not their fault. It's everybody else is doing the same thing and worse. So, you know, I just thought I would pick up where we left off. But you know, this is one of my favorite Halloween headpieces, and don't worry, I have plenty more. I you know, much like my clothes, I don't like to wear anything more than once, you know, unless it's jeans and t-shirts and things like that. And you know, up to this point, I don't think I ever have here on YouTube. But alas, since my live stream just went poof and disappeared in a puff of smoke. Probably a puff of weed smoke, but I don't smoke weed, so it wouldn't be. Yeah, no, I was way ahead of my time, kids. My weed smoking days are long behind me. But God knows this place makes me want to take it up again. Oh, and I promise you would love pot smoking Lisa. Or edible. No, not the edibles. You'd love weed smoking, Lisa. I get really philosophical. Oh yeah, I can go off on some. Boy, I could. Well, listen, I could do this when I'm stone cold sober. I could make a live stream go 12 hours just talking about the this pen. You know, some of us have the gift of gab, some of us don't. God dang it. What in the hell? There's just like this one strand of lash glue. Okay. But anyway, that whole preamble was to explain why I'm wearing the headpiece again, because not all of my friends out there got to see it, especially if you wanted to watch on the replay, because it was just bye gone. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to violate my own wear only once policy, and I'm going to wear it again. So for some of you, it's going to be the second go around. For some of you, it'll be the first time. And let's see. I have at least week's worth to my left of Halloween headpieces. Yes, most of them are from last year, but I have one or two new ones that I'm gonna debut. And don't worry, I'm gonna keep buying them. I'm trying to give Amazon a break. I'm trying to let all the floodwaters recede, all of the debris to get picked up, and then I'll start shopping again. I'm just doing my part to try and help out. All joking aside, I was exceedingly blessed. My entire family and extended family, no significant damage. We had a couple trees down. I can no longer say that you cannot see my home from the road, because we had a few really huge, old, albeit old and huge, rotted pine trees that my husband had actually, he said, notched beforehand, so that if the wind got strong enough, these were things that he would have cut down eventually anyway. At least the way they fell, they didn't damage our home. They did not damage any of our neighbors' homes. I felt so bad for my neighbor back here. She just had a roof put on. I kid you not. They finished it in, wait for it, one day. And they did it, I believe they were out there 2 to 3 days before Milton. And sadly, a huge tree, a huge pine. I don't think it fell all the way on her roof, but it's going to be an issue. There is, as I said, I don't know if you didn't see my community post beforehand, one of the things I said in that post was that my home was built to exceed what here in Florida are known as Miami-Dade Hurricane Andrew building codes. Andrew came through, I think maybe 20 years ago in Miami, and the surrounding suburb of something land. I can't remember at the moment, but it was awful. It was really bad. And because there was such catastrophic devastation, they updated the building codes from that point forward so that subsequent hurricanes would not wreak as much destruction on new construction homes. So things that are, well, I'd be lying if I could explain it to you, but they're called roof straps. And it's like a little belt. It's like a belt for your roof to help, keep it on there. So roof straps. I know my husband said something about maybe footers. Don't quote me on that. But the code is 4 feet apart. Ours are, I believe, 2 feet apart. Everything was built in excess. So this house fared incredibly good. No damage at all. I'm really sad to say that not everybody can say that. My hometown has been just decimated. And I'm not gonna say the name of it, but I can tell you that you've seen it on the news. If you've watched any news, you have seen it over the last several days. My mother just got power back yesterday. There are still, from what I heard this morning, 1.5 million Floridians without power. I will say this, whether you like DeSantis or not, who is our governor, he has done a phenomenal job for the state of Florida, both terms. Who would have ever thought in a million years that the nation would look to Florida in not only voting, ease of voting when the elections come, and disaster preparedness, and then disaster response. I mean, they have got ice stations set up in Hillsborough County. If you are without power and you need ice, you can go and get, there's a limit, but you can go and get free ice. My understanding is the Port of Tampa is now open. That's Hillsborough County. They are sending tankers out. All the gas stations near me, completely out of gas. They have brought in mobile tanks and they're giving people, I believe they said, $10 worth of free gas. Now, you're going to have to wait in line, but who cares? If you need gas, you need gas. They are truly doing everything they can to make this horrific devastation for so many as tolerable, and they're being as helpful as they can be. FEMA's fucking useless, in my opinion. That red tape is going to go on for a very long time, and we just were incredibly blessed. Not only because the house is built so good, but I'm in what they call 100-year floodplain, meaning it has not flooded where I live in over 100 years. So, but I tell you what, just going to today is the first day I've left my house since all this started, because, unlike some people, I try, and when they say, if you don't need to be out, stay at home. I mean, I've got the power company staging right across the street from my house for this street. I had power back on. I lost power that night. I uploaded that video from my front porch around, it wasn't even dark yet. So I don't know, maybe 7:00, something like that. I lost power around 9, I'd say between 9 and 10. I told my husband, don't even bother screwing around with that generator right now, because we had already, for the first time, he let me put the air on this side of the house down to 70. We have the thermostat battles all the time. The master bedroom side, that's my domain. I'm only in my bedroom at night. Okay. I'm not like Betty. I don't fucking live stream from my bed. Okay. So I'm in my bed at the end of the day, at night. I crank that air down to 70. And the understanding is, honey, when you come over to go to bed, because he usually is up very late working in his office across from mine. Well, over there. He cranks it up to 72 when he comes over. And I know that unless I'm doing a live, I don't mess with his thermostat, which is set at 73. But in anticipation of the power going out, like when you lose power, they say, do not open your refrigerator until you absolutely have to. Because the first time you open it, the cold air starts leaving. So he said, crank both ACs down to at least 70. I was like, yes, gladly. That is music to my ears, honey. So, by the time we lost it, it was really cool in here. And he did not. I said, don't even bother with that generator until tomorrow. I don't think we had the generator on 2 hours. And he came in and said, honey, power's back on. I was like, oh. I tell you what, though, after seeing my hometown and even seeing where I live now and all the people, like, I mean, I'm watching my hometown and I'm watching people in a boat going down the street. And not too far from my house, it was the same thing. So, but until I left today, my husband took me to the grocery store in his truck because I didn't want to take my car. It's still soft. There's a lot of muck and mud. And while my car could have done it, I was like, it's easier just have him take me. So when we left today, just I don't even know if the grocery store is a mile from my house. Just these giant, majestic pine trees. If I had to guess how tall they were, oh my God, 25, 35 foot, just bent over, completely broken. I mean, watching my hometown on the news, I was texting my mom and I said, oh my God, I'm looking at our town because she still lives there. And I said, I'm just crying. It's just so sad. And I feel guilty that I'm sitting here in the air condition. So please, DeSantis, and they have put an entire team into place to make this process as easy as it can possibly be. But there's nothing easy about it. I mean, I just can't imagine coming home and finding out that everything you own and care about and love is gone. So just very sad. But I tell you what, if I could vote, if DeSantis could get a third term, I would gladly vote for him. He is incredibly capable. I can't say the same for Rick Scott, that fucking creepy ass Skeletor, but that's for another day. No, it's not. We don't need to talk politics. So I'm going to say hi, and then we're going to get right on into this. Yeah, seems y'all know I don't talk about Sebastian Rogers and the Sebastian Rogers case. Mainly because I just can't take all the trash and scum that are, all surrounding it. But I saw something, somebody sent me a clip and I watched it and I was like, wow. And yes, I'm going to explain why I hashtag Seth Rogers in my title and said, now I get it. Oh, I do get it. I absolutely get it. I know why you would go against the mother of your child to stand with Bullhorn Betty. Yeah, I do. I get it now. Okay. Oh, you know that old expression, birds of a feather and what they like to do? Yeah, that. All right, let's see if I can wear glasses. Oh, God. Didn't I have this problem? Oh, look at that. All right. Of course, I'm going to have like a screaming. I'm going to have my temples are going to be aching by the time this is done. All right. Hello, Miss Brittany. How are you? Listen, sister, who answered the trivia question. Thank you so much. Milton Bradley. Yes, some of my favorite games ever were made by Milton Bradley and Hasbro. Thank you, Teresa. I appreciate that so much. Hi, Pink Stripe. Becky with the God hair. Now Becky's got the God hair. What happened to the good hair? Well, I guess that would kind of be like God hair, wouldn't it? Legal Pickle, how are you? Okay, I'm glad it was. I mean, I hate to say I'm glad it was on your end, but I'm glad it was on your end. I have enough problems on my end. I don't need more. You know, I suck with tech. That's like, all right, let's see here. Oh, I promise you. Listen, if I decide to break my 20, oh, okay, well, that was getting ready to be a lie. I was going to say if I am going to break my 25 years of refraining from weed, which ironically enough, I pick the time of the best shit from my understanding. Well, from my knowledge, I have smoked acres of what I will charitably call ditch weed in my life. My best friend that I lost to breast cancer, when she had her first go around, I've told you all the story about the edible spice cake. Wow. Yeah. That was well, let's see. Let's say between 18 and 20 years. No, that's a lie. Let's say it was at least and possibly more 12 years ago. Yeah. So if I decide to break my 12-year abstention from the devil's lettuce, I promise you. Oh, I will go live and we'll have what I'm sure will be a highly entertaining live stream. I do everything I can to be highly entertaining when I'm stone cold sober. So I promise you, you would really enjoy. I think you would really enjoy high as balls, crimes and fashion. Oh yes, I definitely get very philosophical, as long as it's not the edible thing, because that edible thing that had me contemplating a trip to the emergency room. So yeah, no, I'm the paranoia. Like, I was pretty sure the FBI and Tom Cruise had rappelled onto my roof well, you wouldn't rappel from a helicopter, dropped out of a helicopter, at least Tom Cruise. Mission Impossible style. The FBI was, staging in the front yard somewhere. They were going to bust the door down because I had, 4 crumbs from a spice cake in my kitchen. Oh, I've told that story, but God, it's funny. And someday I'll probably tell it again. But philosophical, puff, puff, pass, Lisa. Listen, I was the MacGyver of weed when I was in high school. I made a pipe out of a Marlboro cigarette box. I made a pipe out of a Tampax cardboard applicator. Yes, I could do it all. So if I do one day decide to break my puff, puff, pass abstention, that is a word, isn't it? I mean, abstaining, abstention. I think it is. Hey, at least if I make up words, they're not 4th grade words. So I promise, if I decide to do that, I will share with the class. I mean, I won't, you know what I mean. I'll share the entertainment with the class. Okay. Hey, Cinnamon Hot Hot. How are you? Oh, hey, Toe Beans. Homestead. Yes. Yes. Okay, 92. So, yeah, I'd have been 22 years old. Yep, Homestead. Oh God, that was so bad. So bad. And you know what? I think that even people who take the politics out of it, whether you voted for DeSantis or not, I don't know anybody that could legitimately complain. Well, unless it's, people like the YouTubers, because God knows they live for something to complain about. But I think for the most part, Floridians are very happy with the job DeSantis is doing. Oh. Oh, well, that's very interesting. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, FEMA's listen, I'm of the opinion that anytime the federal government puts their grimy mitts into anything, they just fuck it up more than it already is. The more bureaucracy, the more they screw it up. That's why we need less government, not more. But that's a stream for another day. Oh, hey B Tim, how are you? Thank you. I appreciate that. Gina Marie. And you know what? Truly, thank you to everyone who was kind enough to send me an email, which I'm so sorry, you all. I'm woefully inadequate about checking my email, and I'm quite behind as always. But I please do not think that for 1 minute it goes unnoticed or unappreciated. I truly do. I very much appreciate everyone who is kind enough to reach out to me and to, check up on me. Thank you. I truly appreciate it. Hey, Gina Marie. Orange Butterfly. Now, Orange Butterfly, why do I feel like I just heard your name? I think, would it have been Makeup Mobster? I was listening to her earlier today. Orange Butterfly, can you confirm, did Laura say something absolutely disgusting to you about Wendy? Just much like the judge told Betty, it's a yes or no question. I just know that I'm almost positive I heard your name today. And it would have been from, I think it was yesterday's live stream of Makeup Mobsters, possibly the day before. And let me just say this right now. I don't want anybody to think that I just started listening to Makeup Mobster after I wrote Laura off. That is not the case. I listened to Makeup Mobster before Laura. And I don't think even Laura herself would deny that I did not listen to all the things that everybody said about her, the negative things. And I really tried to extend myself to her when she got sick. So please, I don't want anybody to think that, oh, well, you just like Makeup Mobster now because you don't care for Laura. No, not at all. But yes, I feel like I heard her say something so disgusting, not Makeup Mobster, Laura, to Orange Butterfly about Wendy. And something Laura, by the way, I'm just going to let you know that, clearly you don't care about even just a little. You like to tell other people they don't have any class. Well, I can tell you what, I'm kind of like Makeup Mobster in this respect. Whatever the comment was you said to someone about go back to Wendy's and blank her blank. I won't even repeat that because it's so disgusting. Gross. So for one who likes to tell everybody else how much class they don't have, what is that you say? You might want to look in a fucking mirror. A mirror. Yeah, you might want to do that. Oh, I do just need to know though if that was let me go back up here and see if it was Orange Butterfly. Oh, Laura, is that you, girl? Is this one of your 9,000 troll accounts? Well, I'm sorry, Markella. No, I'm not going to stop talking. I'm sorry, it's making your head hurt. There's this button. There's a whole bunch of other channels. I trust me, I'm not asking you to be here. I'm happy to try and help out and accommodate where I can, but this I'm Eventually I will stop talking. Don't worry, I will. But it's not, well, it's probably not going to be for at least the next couple hours. So, I think it would be easiest just for you to leave. But by all means, you're welcome to stay. I will say, you know what? At least you were polite. You said please. So I'm going to give you points for that. Oh, okay. All right. Let's do this. What should we do first, kids? Orange Butterfly, was it you? Was it you that the comment was directed at? Did she tell you to go? I cannot imagine being. Forget about, I don't even give a damn about, because we're the same age, or we're within a year of each other. I cannot imagine. I swear to hand to God, I would put my hand on a Bible. I have never in my life. I've said some shitty things to people. I've said some rude things. I've said some things that some people might think are mean. I have never told, not even a woman that enjoys that type of thing. I have never told any woman at all, period, end of story, regardless of whether or not it's something she enjoys. I've never told another woman to go blank another woman's lady parts. No, oh, it was you, Orange Butterfly. Girl, I heard that and I was like, I'm done. I am so done. Who talks like that? And she said it twice. I think she said it twice. And Laura, I know you're watching, girl. Do better. I mean, come on. God knows you have got a foul mouth. You can certainly come up with something that doesn't just like, God almighty. I thought Cluminati was vulgar. Oh, good Lord. Okay. She has you blocked. Oh my God, I find that hard to believe, Orange Butterfly. Are you sure about that? Oh, shit, she has my burner number. I don't know. I half expected her to like text me and tell me to fuck off. Oh, there's still time. She might. That's really not. And honestly, that is really not my goal. I've only talked about her, I think maybe two other times. Once was right after the all the CPS shit came to light. And everybody in the community was talking about it. I even waited a couple days. I gave my thoughts. And the only reason I'm doing it now is because I keep hearing her ask these questions. And I feel like I understand when you have a deep like beef with someone, whether it's on YouTube or in your real life, whatever the case may be, you are not at all receptive to anything that person has to say, even if some of what they have to say, or even most of what they have to say, is true. You're so lost in your animosity that you just discard everything they say and just assume that it's negative and it's coming after you. So there's this part of me that feels like, and I know this is complete fantasy, but there's this little part of me that feels like, you know what? Maybe if she hears this from someone who doesn't hate her, because I don't hate her. She's not important enough for me to hate. I don't even dislike her. I'm confounded by her. This whole like persecution complex she has. I feel like, you know what? Maybe because listen, she's 12, okay? She is 12 years old, period, end of the story. I think she could hear this from someone that she greatly admired, if there is anyone, respected, if there is anyone. I know she has a best friend of many years that she talks about occasionally. I think that she could hear these things from her best friend, although something tells me that they wouldn't be her best friend if they told her what she needed to hear. Because birds of a feather tend to flock together. So I have a feeling that even if these words of wisdom, and they are going to be words of wisdom, I don't think that she's receptive to anything from anyone. But and she's going to be short and sweet. I'm going to save my time. Well, I'm going to be short and sweet where she's concerned, literally and metaphorically as well. Well, maybe not so sweet, but short, brief. Because I know it's going to fall on deaf ears, and who cares? But all of that was to say, I'm not just saying it because I don't have anything else to talk about. I can fucking talk about anything, I assure you. But I keep hearing her repeat these mantras over and over and over about, well, if that was me, I don't get held to the same standard that anyone else is. I'm going to give you a few reasons why that is, or why I think that is. Okay. So, yeah, no, she's definitely, and you know what? It's like, you're correct. I don't think she's receptive to any criticism from anybody. But that doesn't mean that you should stop trying to give it to her. But the bottom line is, she is who she is. We all are. She's a little old to change, but you never know who's going to be the one that's going to make somebody sit back and say, you know what? Because she has to know, I'm not, this is a hobby for me. That's it. That's all. I'm not trying to get famous. I think, and this, hand to God, this is the reason I'm not monetized. I mean, do I appear to be someone who doesn't enjoy money? Of course I do. And I was monetized once before, and about less than a week later, I blew my whole channel up. My entire YouTube revenue for, well, I think it was about a week I was monetized. I made about $25 in my YouTube career. And when I came back, I have made a very conscious decision not to monetize. And it's not because I don't like money, but it's because it gives you a freedom to say that, and not really that, and the fact that this is not my life. Okay. This is something fun for me to do. I like to talk. My husband, I'm sure, is tired of hearing me talk about people that neither one of us are ever going to meet and really don't care about. So that's all this is. I got a lot of clothes I want to wear. And I've got a pretty stable internet connection. So I made a choice to not monetize again, because it does give me a lot more freedom to my motives. The motives are not questioned, because when there's money involved, like with everything in life, it just tends to, it clouds things, we'll just say. So I just have this little bitty channel that nobody cares about. I don't particularly care about, except for the reasons I just stated. My life is going to go on spinning just fine, whether or not I have this YouTube channel. All right. So, as I was saying, let's see. Let me find like Clipper. Is that where I was before? You know what? I don't think we're going to, no, we're not going to go in that order. Okay, so I'm going to say this in case in the very unlikely event that I run long. I mean, that never happens. Oh God, Orange Butterfly. You've been around since the Watts days. Listen, I watched back in the Watts days. I watched Critical K. Who else did I watch? I watched a little bit of Natasha Cooper. Some other people that I'm sure are still around. I'm just not even thinking of at this time. But when I was watching back then, that was like all I was watching for the most part. I didn't even know. Back in those days, I watch on my YouTube on my TV. I never even knew, because I watched it on TV, that there was such a thing as live chat. I didn't even know that. And then I really got, Summer Wells. Even in the Summer Wells days, I don't think I knew that there was live chat. God, I tend to think my life might have been better back in those days. It would have been less eventful. Well, no, I can't. Well, yeah, less dramatic, less drama back in those days. Before I knew about live chat. And yeah, it was Summer Wells that made me decide to fire up my own channel, because I remember saying to myself, my God, look at these dumbasses. If they can do it, I can do it. But I was never in a chat. Not until, at some point, obviously, I figure it might have been my husband that told me. Not that he's in this hood. No. Our algorithms never the two shall meet. He has, his algorithm is much more highbrow than mine. But I think here's what I'm going to say to Laura, because this was the main thing I was going to address anyway. There's no use. We don't need to go on for an hour about it. I don't need to flog a dead horse. But Laura, here's the answer to your question. For all the people you say have done so much worse than you, I don't know. I don't know about that. But I do know this. And you want to know, you use Savage as an example. I'm not using that, but that was one of her examples. As to, she's done this and she's done that, and she was a real lifer. I think Laura, in her very eloquent way of speaking, said she used to be a piece of shit or something like that. And so why don't people hold her accountable like they want to hold me accountable? Let it go. What did she like? I owned it. Call it whatever you want. I call it, you admitted it when you had no choice. The only way to not admit it at that point was to look as if you were, you would have looked like you were seriously mentally unbalanced if you didn't find. There comes a point when you must wave the red flag. There is no choice. To do anything less would indicate something that probably has a corresponding code contained in the DSM. Hey, Nash Native, how are you? But to boil it all down to brass tacks, I don't care what listen, you could take someone, and this applies to real life, not just YouTube. And you would be well suited to learn this. I'm surprised you haven't along the way. You, like all the rest of us, not just you, but all of us, but some of us actually do it, would benefit from, I don't know, every once in a while just shutting the fuck up. I'm not even going to tell you to sit the fuck down, but just like shutting up and listening to someone who may possibly know more than you, whether that be experience, education, whatever the case may be. And I don't know, just maybe acknowledging the fact that you don't know everything. And it's not exactly rockets. This is why I call you PerPlexACuted. It's not exactly rocket science. There comes a point when you have fallen out with every person in your orbit at one time or another. Hey, Fit and Kirby, how are you? No matter how close you were, or how long they were in your inner circle, there comes a point where most normal thinking people, this statement is predicated on normal, we'll say normal slash, no, not even slash, we'll say normal and mature thinking people who have a little bit of self-awareness. You can sit back and you can say, you know what? Well, I might not admit this to that bitch. You know, maybe I'm part of the problem. Maybe I'm the whole problem. I don't know. But I do know this. There's nobody in the world who has a long-standing conflict with someone else who can say, I'm totally innocent. I haven't done anything. It's all them. So what the hell? Okay. I don't know what happened. I was like, damn, bitch, you work fast. Seriously, again? Anyway, there comes a point when a mature, even remotely normal thinking person sits back and says, you know, maybe I'm doing something wrong. And just to go a little bit further with that, I can tell you this, whether it's here or real life. Of course. What the hell do you mean my PC needs to be? Do me a favor. Just put a 1 if you can hear me. I keep getting these pop-up messages. Your PC needs from like a driver telling me I need to restart. Just somebody put a 1. So I know that I'm not just sitting here talking to myself. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So whether it's YouTube you're talking about or your real life you're talking about, you can take 2 people who have each done the exact same deed, we'll just say. And one of them, let's just say it's a misdeed. Let's say it's something naughty. And you've got this one, and they're both gonna own it. And we've got this one over here who's clearly, they either actually do have some contrition or they're just a much better actor than this one. So you can have this one say, and all other things being equal, you know what? Yeah, I did something really shitty. I was in my feelings. I had a lot of other things going on in my life. Not that I'm using that as an excuse. But I did something very very hurtful and very wrong to Joe Blow. And you know, I just want to say that I'm deeply sorry. I will regret it for the rest of my days. I hope that one day you can find it, you know, in your heart to forgive me. And if not, I understand. I probably don't deserve it. And then you got this one over here who says, well, you know what? Do you know what you've done to me for all these years, every fucking day? I wouldn't have done X if you hadn't done Y. I owned it. Do you know how many people have done the same thing and worse? And you don't hold them accountable. They don't take ownership of it. I'm the only one. Well, my gosh, I mean, I can't imagine why. My advice to you: either get thicker skin, and by the way, if you want someone to stop talking about what I'm sure you will say is the worst thing you've ever done on YouTube, girl, it's your story. You tell it. But you might want to quit talking about it yourself every day of your YouTube life. I mean, I don't know. That's just a suggestion. But yeah, can you see how one, even though it's the same deed, and she may be very true when she says, well, what about X, Y, and Z? They did the same, if not worse. Well, clearly you need to learn to be a better actress. Or if you don't care, like you say you don't care, then I don't know. Maybe quit drawing attention to it and talking about it every day. But you see, if you ask me, you know what I would say? I would say, what do you have left at this point? I don't listen to you anymore. My understanding is you're deep in the Wade Wilson shit. You go, girl. But one thing that I have seen with my own eyes, and I tend to believe is very true, that I always heard about you. Oh, and I have my own personal experience too. I think that I don't think you really have one single fuck to give about anybody on this platform. I do. I think I would be better off if I didn't. Because trust me, I've been burned a couple times. I mean, I've had some real hurt feelings. I just because I don't take to YouTube and start naming names and reading fucking private messages, etc., that doesn't mean it hasn't happened to me. It most definitely has. But I think you just look at people as a means to an end. I think you would attach yourself to anybody who you thought could help you get ahead in some way. And when you figure out that that isn't going to happen, I think I don't think there's anybody here who means anything to you. And she might have the better, she might be right. I'm sure I'm wrong. As far as that goes, but I can't help it. That's me. This is called social media for a reason. I'm not a fake bitch. I mean, in some ways, we all listen to one degree or another. We all show you what we want you to see. We don't show you what we don't want you to see. I admit it. But some people are like I believe Laura is. Out for number one all the time. And, of course, in life, you have to worry about yourself first. But some people worry about themselves to the exclusion of everyone else. I don't do that. I have made some friends on here. I call them friends. If they end up disappointing me in the end, so be it. I'm not going to change the fact that people, if I think enough of you to communicate with you off of YouTube, that's a real that's because I genuinely like you. I call you a friend. And listen, I know everyone throws the word friend around really loosely. But you know what? I would rather be disappointed and say to myself, "Oh my God, you dumbass. You let it happen again. You let somebody, you had some kind of loose friendship with someone and they really didn't give a shit about you. I don't care. That I don't want that to happen, but I will take that chance. And trust me, please understand, I don't mean that I'm out there giving my phone number or my burner number to everybody that, has a kind word. Not at all. Not at all. But I'll continue trying. I try and choose people to communicate with on a more personal level. I try and choose wisely. Like I said, I've been disappointed in the past, but I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to become like what I think you are, which is just, what can you do for me? And I speak from my own personal experience with you. So, yeah, be a better actress, or, there's, and here's another reason, and I'm going to echo something I heard Makeup Mobster say, and not because I need to reinforce it. And I knew it. I said this way back. But clearly I'm not the only one who recognizes this. You are very aggressive, and you are one of the most miserable people I have encountered on this app. I've never heard you laugh. Never. You listen, we all, to one degree or another, we all bitch about other people when we take to the airwaves. Well, I'm sorry, that's the neighborhood we're rolling around in. This is a petty place. I'm just not, looking people up outside of YouTube. I'm not calling CPS. I'm not calling anybody's parents, their husband, their boyfriend, their fucking kids. No, because I don't care enough to do that. It's crazy to me. So while I do understand that we all have petty grievances with other people, I can bitch about somebody and make you laugh while I'm doing it. You know what? Honest to God, I don't think I've ever even seen you smile. And honestly, it makes me feel sad for you, because how, I don't know, you just seem joyless. So maybe that's a real legitimate reason that people will not give you, if we go with what you say, all things being equal. Maybe the reason that people give other people who have committed transgressions like yours or worse than yours, maybe the reason that people will overlook that or forgive it, whatever you want to call it, well, maybe that's because they find something redeeming within them. You're just angry. You are angry and full of venom. You really are. And I feel sorry for you. It's no way to go through life. And you can say whatever you want to say. I've never seen you smile. I've never heard you laugh. And you just seem to be completely miserable all the time. But can't understand why people don't give you the benefit of the doubt that they might give someone else. Well, there you go. I hope I answered your question for you. And that's enough time spent on that. Lecture over, because I'm sure it will fall on deaf ears. And listen, she didn't ask for my advice, and I'm pretty sure she's not going to give a shit, which is fine. Doesn't mean I'm just like everybody else. Everybody listens to the content that we all put out. And when we hear something that we want to talk about, we talk about it. So there you go. There's my sage advice for you, Laura. All right. I'm just reading some of the. Oh God. Yeah, I think a lot of, you know what? This is very true. I mean, although I think this is about Betty in a lot of ways, I see parallels between Laura and Betty, and God knows that's going to piss her off, but I do. Like, they both seem to blame every other person in the world for the circumstances they find themselves in. Neither one seems to have any self-awareness, doesn't take any personal responsibility for anything. And hey, you do you. I don't give a shit. It's not going to change anything in my life. But you know, a lot of these people are similar. And I think the more time you spend on here, I mean, I think I was last live. Well, the only way I would know for certain is, I can't do that. I was going to go and look at StreamYard because that's the only way I can tell for certain. But I think it said October 4th because StreamYard still has the live that was, poof, that disappeared. And I do believe when I was setting this one up, I saw that the last one was October 4th. What's today? The 12th. So give or take a week. I think the more time you spend on here, I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. It's hard to have a very, well, let me rephrase that. People that I see that spend copious amounts of time on here, I couldn't imagine being on here every day just because mentally for me, it's like, it's not good to be, shockingly, I don't have anybody in my real life that irritates the shit out of me the way these people do. Now, in my younger years, oh yes, I was built for this. I'm not anymore. I would never want to spend every day on YouTube because what starts happening, and you see this, it's not just me. The more time you spend on here, the more real world perspective you lose about the real world. I mean, there is not a mofo in this place, not in our neighborhood, who's famous. I don't give a damn if Vinnie Politan said Bullhorn Betty a few times in the live stream that we're about to look at. I don't care because it's not for anything good and it'll probably never be again, or it won't be again until she gets in trouble again. There's lots of thirsty people like that. There's nobody in this hood that is a celebrity. You are never gonna be. Most of you aren't even known for anything good. And to me, my little 2,500 subs, it's the same thing as Betty's 35,000. Let's just keep it all in perspective here, okay? Because in the real world, in the big scheme of the real world, where there are real accomplished people, do you think that there is a difference between my 2,500 subs on YouTube and Betty's 3,500,000 or 35,000, if we're going to look at them through the lens of keeping it all in perspective, someone like PewDiePie or Mr. Beast, would you not agree that myself and Betty and Laura and anybody else with those sub counts, well, even though there's a big disparity in this neighborhood between my sub count and theirs, we're all the same irrelevant in the real world or in terms of real big channels. So you're welcome. Sorry, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The difference is, I'm not going to fret about it. And I don't call this a job because it's not a job. It's a hobby. So, we got Betty who thinks that just because you call yourself a member of the media, and thank God we finally, hold on, stand by, kids. Oh, that's a damn Chanel bag. Hold on. I saw that black rope. I was looking for my press pass. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It's about as legit as this. Krama Memorial, Dr. Beesney's, MD, psychiatry. But before I had Dr. Beesney's credentials in here, I had my press pass in here. I was a member of the well-dressed literate media with credentials issued by Saks Fifth Avenue and Neiman Marcus, which are as legit as Betty's that apparently it took 4 sheets of copy paper to print as an exhibit in court. Oh, good God. Yeah. So just keeping it all in perspective, kids, just because you say you're a member of the media, you're not. Just because you say you are call yourself whatever you want. I maintain that no matter what your business is, if your business cannot be sustained off of the ebbs and the flows of YouTube, that, my friends, is a hobby. That is not a business. But that's just me. All right, so enough of that. I do hope that clears it up a little bit for you, though. PerPlexACuted. What do you think of that? Do you like that title? Something tells me you don't. I'm sorry about that. Okay. So I have pulled up Seth and Tony on Court TV. Now, y'all know I don't talk about this case. I don't, because I just, I thought I was coming here to do true crime. Didn't quite work out that way. And I don't talk about these cases because I can't stand all the trash that surrounds them. Like the ones we're about to talk about. So apparently, and someone sent this to me, by the way. Hold on. I need a napkin. I've got like 3 different lipsticks on. Oh, it's a good thing I just happen to have these disco ball cocktail napkins sitting next to me. Oh, listen, my purse is like, although I didn't get this out of my purse, but my office, much like my purse, it's like a Swiss Army knife. Almost anything you need, I'm going to have. Hold on a minute. Ugh. Oh my God. I don't even wear lip liner. Like when you wear multiple colors layered and they get, it gets crummy. And I put lip gloss on. Oh, this fucking glue string. Y'all, I haven't worn lashes in well, since my last live until today. I thought, oh, I hope it's like riding a bike. It is. And true story, I did tan before the hurricane. The day before, that was my final prep. We got everything else done, and then I tanned because I thought, you know what? I'm sorry. If I'm gonna lose shit, or God forbid I'm displaced out of my home, well, whatever happens, I just, I'm looking good is feeling good. I know. Listen, I am a petty, shallow bitch and have never claimed to be anything but. However, if I'm your friend, well, you definitely, there could be worse people sitting next to you in a foxhole. I mean, listen, I'm going to make it look nice. I'm going to make you look nice while you're in it. We're going to have good, stimulating conversation while we're waiting for action. When we're in said foxhole, you could do worse than me. All right. Now, on to this clip someone sent me. And actually, interestingly enough, I had actually pulled another clip from this same channel that I am going to put the. Hold on a minute. Can't full screen that yet. All right. I'm going to share the link in the chat to, hey, Caribbean, how are you? Oh, God. Oh, you just got your generator going. Oh, girl, may the force be with you. I hope you get power soon. Oh, and I hope you fared okay during the hurricane. Hello, Bino. Why is it not pasting the link? All right, hold on. Let me try this a different way. Nope, not that. We'll try it from here. Okay, this is going to work. Okay, this is from a channel that looks relatively new called Hindsight 2002. Here is the link to this video that we are going to watch. Hey, Zen, how are you? Oh my God, I almost forgot. Zen, this is what made me think of it. Okay, so my hairdresser, this damn hurricane has, seriously, I wasn't lying when I said my hair is starting to look like Betty's. The last one made me miss my appointment. This one made me miss my appointment. Got rescheduled. Or no, wait, I take that back. I have appointments booked out until the beginning of next year through the holidays because that's the busiest time of the year. So I've got all these appointments. The last hurricane, I missed my appointment. I decided to just go commando and bite on a stick until my appointment for October 15th. What's today? The 12th? Yes, the 15th. So I get the text message because she uses this automated system in the salon to confirm my appointment. So yes, I confirm. Yes. Are you kidding me? I'm going to be like a little puppy dog waiting at the back door. Do my roots. I confirmed, and about 30 minutes before I came in here, I got a text that said the salon is not operable at this time due to no power, no water. I'm like, oh no. It said, basically, stand by. We are working on an alternate location. I'm like, I will come to your house. I'll go to the parking lot of the salon. You can use a hose. We'll get a paintbrush from Home Depot. I don't give a damn. I got to get this shit done. I'm just telling y'all right now, you may be seeing me with very clever, thank God it's Halloween, but even if it wasn't, I'd buy a fascinator in every color for the next 3 weeks, whatever it takes. to hide these roots. My hair might be in unprecedented, catastrophic conditions. I could not, but you know what? She's in my hometown. So I'm not at all surprised that there's no electric and no water. But yeah, it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. Oh goodness. Yes, just get a garden hose. I don't care. You don't even have to blow it out. Just paint, just slap that shit on there. And then I thought, oh my God, what if I'll settle for just do the middle. Just zip it right down the middle. Don't worry about the rest of it. I'll hide it. Oh, I'm a trooper. I will take one for the team. All right. Let's watch this, shall we? Please go sub up to this channel, Hindsight 2002. What? Good for them. Okay. By the sub count, it looks to be a fairly new channel, and unless they're just a really subpar YouTuber like myself. But wow, it's had 7,300 views. That's awesome. I love that. All right. I'm going to break my silence where these clowns are concerned. All right, let me share with the class. And listen, I please don't, I don't want anyone to misunderstand here. I'm actually not even, Seth Rogers is entitled, it's his child, and he is entitled to feel whatever he feels. As far as what happened to his son. However, I for the longest time until now, I've given the man the benefit of the doubt as to why he got himself involved with the crew that he has decided to surround himself with. And I've just sitting back and refraining from speaking on him for the most part. I mean, I've made a comment in passing here and there, much along the lines of, hey, if you don't think you are going to find yourself on the receiving end of Bullhorn Betty's bullshit, you will. I've said that I can understand that you would be desperate having a missing child to get the word out to anyone who would, the inclination to take any platform that is offered to you. I'm sure your initial knee-jerk reaction is to take every offer that comes your way, but at some point you have to sit back and let me just say this. It's become apparent to me since all this started that the reason that he is surrounding himself with who he is because they're just like him. He is just like them. Now, I don't know much about this clown, TikTok Tony. Tony, you listen, this is kind of my wheelhouse. While I'm typically not offended by men in these like a golf shirt, I call it a golf shirt. Performance fabric, not your friend. This color, if you're going to wear this color again and this type of clinging material, you might want to get a training bra. And Seth, you need to borrow Betty's bra because God knows she doesn't wear one. Yeah, that's the petty part of me. I'm sorry. And your hair. I mean, who the fuck goes to court looking like what'd you do? I know you used to be a corrections officer. These type of braids I know are very popular in prison. Yes, I know that. Well, at least in the female way. Listen, I watch Wentworth, but even in Wentworth, they don't really do this. I get it. They're bored. They got a lot of time on their hands, and girls are touchy feely. And, oh, girl, come over here. Let me braid your hair. Of course, I'm going to shank you for your fucking chocolate milk in 30 minutes from now. Oh, fickle. Yeah, I gotta say, first of all, get a big boy haircut. I mean, sir, I used to tell my son when he was a teenager, if you want to be taken seriously, perhaps present yourself as a serious person. I can tell I thought early on, but I refrained from saying that. I know at one time I said that he appeared to very much be enjoying his newfound popularity on social media. Seth, this place is fucking meaningless. Unlike your son. The people that you're surrounding yourself with, I don't know anything about Tony. Just what I hear, and I don't really hear much of anything good. I know plenty about Betty, just based on what Betty shows us. I can assure you that, God forbid I had a missing loved one, Betty would be the last person on the planet of Earth that, of all the people out here with a platform, whether it's here, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram, whatever it is, she's the best you can do. No, she's not. She might have the least amount of class, a broken moral compass, and the lowest standards for herself and everyone around her. Winner, chicken dinner. Hey, blank screen, how are you? But it has become clear to me that you very much are enjoying all this attention. It's apparent in the way you present yourself, everything about you. And like I said, this is my wheelhouse, so I know what I'm talking about. Okay. Your first court appearance, sir, it wasn't about you. It was bad enough that you chose to stand by Bullhorn Betty over either just shutting your mouth and saying nothing as far as your ex-wife is concerned. And I know of what I speak in this area also. I have an ex-husband to this day I don't have much use for, except for the fact that he is the father of my son. He was in my house not too long ago celebrating one of my son's milestones. And he always will be until the day I go in an urn. But you can do that when you're not a child yourself, because you put your child above your needs. So, and I don't want anybody to be confused here and think, oh, well, she's just such a bitch talking about what he was wearing. Like that matters. Well, I got news for you. It very much does matter. If he wanted to go to court and not be competing for attention like Bullhorn Betty, I don't even know how they fit the two of them in the same room. A suit would have been fine. Even wear your cowboy boots with your suit, whatever. I mean, hey, listen, let it never be said that I haven't seen some fine looking men in the state of Texas wearing some very pricey cowboy boots with their suits. And even a 10-gallon hat, but not you. Okay. You could have worn the suit and your cowboy boots and just sat on the wrong side of the courtroom and just been a respectful observer. But no, you needed to come in wearing a fucking cowboy hat the size of this is a restaurant that was in my hometown. Let me look real quick. I thought it was a national chain back in the day, but never mind. I don't think it was. I think it was unique to my town, so I'm not going to say it. But oh, you look like the LED light up man on the Binion's horseshoe sign. The lights that the running LEDs, and you got the guy with the big, 500-gallon hat on. Yeah. You don't wear an outfit like that. You're not a celebrity. I know you think you are some kind of like newfound celebrity. You don't wear an outfit like that, especially being the having the physique that you have, sir. You don't wear that. What was that? Was that suit like a polyester gabardine leisure suit? Was that like a double knit? What was that? You don't wear an outfit like that unless you're looking for somebody like me and I don't know, everybody else to, yeah, you want all eyes on you. It's very clear to me. You really like attention. Okay, well, could we dial the wardrobe in if you insist on this? So clearly, I don't know. Something tells me you listen to a lot of channels talking about you, and I think not me, of course, because I'm sure you don't know I exist, and that's fine. I like it that way. Hey, JP, how are you? I have a feeling that you heard a lot of people dragging you for filth over your court costume. So was this second go around where you chose to once again sit on the wrong side of the courtroom? This time you decided to come in wearing your prison braids. And listen, I don't mean to be, I'm sorry, that's just what I thought of. It is. You looked so utterly ridiculous, sir. I'm sorry. And that tells me something. That tells me that you are so thirsty. You are thirsty as hell for attention. See how that works out with you and your lady friend, Betty. And my goodness, nothing says professional like these two idiots sitting here in what certainly appears to be a hotel room. What's the matter, Tony? You didn't want to invite Bets over to your house for your court TV photo op? Yeah, Tony, get a training bra. Seth, borrow one of Betty's bras that she refuses to wear. And dude, seriously, prison braids, or the only other thing it brought to mind was Tom Cruise, Samurai. I don't know why, because I don't think even Tom Cruise could have pulled that. Dude, it's not about you, Seth. It's not supposed to be about you. It's supposed to be about your son. The one that you've got to use all 12 of his names whenever you're talking about and remind us, I named him. Congratulations. And that has what to do with what? Nobody cares. All these people are desperate attention whores. I don't know any other way to put it. And we're going to watch this clip. And I got to tell you, I'm all the way done with giving him any benefit of any doubt. As a parent, of course, I feel for him. I hope that Sebastian is somewhere out there alive and well. And if he is, and I hope to God he is, can you imagine him watching this spectacle going on? Seth, you worked in corrections. How do you look at someone like Betty, who's, let's just face it, she's been a lifelong, well, I'm going to be careful here. I'll say it this way. She has had criminal behavior, lifelong criminal behavior. She is constantly on the wrong side of the law, whether she was convicted or not. I know I don't have decades worth of legal interaction. She's being sued all over from fucking Maine to Spain. Also not normal. And if you think for 1 minute that she gives one single fuck about your son, you're sadly mistaken. Just like you're sadly mistaken about that hair. Yeah. You are a means to an end for her. So is your son. I can't imagine having my parent think that the best they could do for me was Bullhorn Betty. And this fucking clown right here. What's his resume, by the way? I mean, I know my understanding is he's declared bankruptcy a whole lot of times, which does not exactly indicate financial responsibility. And listen, I get it. Businesses fail. People have things happen in their lives. I get it. Once, 6 or more times? No, I don't get that. That's a fucking lifestyle. A choice. Actually, that's probably a lifestyle that you can't afford. That's what it sounds like to me. So let's just listen to this. Hey, Purple Haze, how are you? Three Stooges in the same hotel. I'm telling you, I saw this and I was like, that is without a doubt a hotel room. Now it looks a little nicer than the shitholes that Betty typically stays in. But nonetheless, that's a hotel. Unless Tony or Seth, well, we've seen Seth's kitchen backdrop, so this is a vast improvement over that. But honestly, after listening to this, I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I am done with holding back on him. You want to insist on being this asshole? Well, then you know what? And I'm still going to temper and hold back on my thoughts because he does have a missing child. And, you know, unless you are a degenerate shitbag like the people he surrounds himself with, well, that's what one does. So let's listen to this. And my final thought before I get going on this is for Katie. I'm giving you, as well as Seth, as well as your husband, I am giving all three of you the presumption of innocence. Because see, unlike this clown posse, there has been no indication by law enforcement. I don't give a damn what the YouTube assholes who are enriching, whose financial interest it is in to say some of the outrageous shit they say. Yeah, they're all making money out of the circus that has become your child's case. And for that, I'm very sorry. I'm giving all three of you the presumption of innocence because law enforcement has said there are no suspects. There are no persons of interest. So I don't go with what the YouTubers say because, to be quite honest with you, most of them are not intellectually on par with me. So I'm not going to take theories and allegation and supposition from a bunch of people that don't even speak the same English language that I do. And the one they speak poorly. So yeah, no, I don't do that. But giving you that presumption of innocence, I cannot imagine. I've seen of this trio, I've seen two that learned the errors of their way as far as giving interviews to the media and to YouTubers. They learned apparently quite early on, nothing good was going to come from that. This is an absolute white trash shit show going on around here. Do most of these people seem capable of, hell, half of them can't dress themselves. Never mind, find anybody or, all the things. So you have my sympathies. I cannot imagine what it has to be like to listen to a bunch of just complete assholes who don't care about your child, and they don't care about you. They care about their own financial self-interest in stirring this case up and stirring people up and slandering and defaming. And, no matter what you think of who could be guilty, these people have absolutely been harassed. None of us can even imagine what that would feel like. So to have to deal with that, you don't know where your child is, and your ex-husband has taken up with one of the chief harassing, psychotic behaving YouTubers, and chooses to sit next to her rather than on the side of his son. So for all of that, I'm sorry. And if it's any consolation, I don't have an opinion as to, I don't know enough to say, oh, you're guilty and he's guilty or she's guilty. I don't know. I think anything is possible, but I commend you and your husband for having the dignity on behalf of your son to sit back in silence and not feed into the beast that is this trauma circus, unlike your child's father.
Is with us, and the Rogers family spokesperson, Tony Mathis, as well. Thank you both for coming here. What's your reaction, Seth?
Oh, yes. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commentary, education, scholarship, and research. And thank you to, oh, how embarrassing, Hindsight 2002. Please sub up to them. The link is in the chat.
And Tony, to what happened today or yesterday in court with Bullhorn Betty?
Oh, what was that? Is that Seth's like, hey, remember what we talked about in the bathroom? I know the fan was loud, but come on. Remember, contain yourself. Remember, deep breath. Listen, you already just disregarded what I told you about the hair. Trust me on this. Remember what we talked about. I mean, after listening to this, I know why this fucking idiot, I know why he needs a mouthpiece, because he doesn't need to be talking on his own.
And what are your thoughts about
how embarrassing? You are a grown man. A grown man. By the way, at least 2 weight classes over the one who just, your handler. That's what he is. He's your handler. I mean, I'm embarrassed for you.
Bullhorn Betty and what she's been doing.
Oh, there she is in the back. Oh my God. Nothing says professional like, what the fuck is this? Okay, I didn't see this. I only saw in court how do you do that? How do you get, like, he's bald in most places. How do you get a braid to go horizontal and then it comes vertical, but you're bald above and below? God, I must be missing something. Well, hell, I'm going to be going to Wentworth to get my hair done if this doesn't, like, if my hairdresser doesn't find a damn, like, that was Betty. I'm sure that just, that bitch could not, like, she could not help herself. She had to have her moment to get on court TV. Not in handcuffs, of course. Like, this is such a fucking clown show. I don't even have the words. I am embarrassed for all three of you. You are clowns, all of you. Oh my God. How did I miss that?
Well, Vinny, first off, thank you for having us tonight.
Betty's alarm clock is going off. Betty, it's 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Get up, bitch. The all-you-can-eat buffet is almost over.
Let me be crystal clear about something.
at her!
That entire family lied
Oh my
under
God, what
oath
a clown.
to get those
You're a
protect.
clown. Seth, you're a clown. Tony, you are the fucking head clown in charge. Like, you gotta thump this one. Did you not tell the balding eagle in the back? Like, you didn't tell her? Betty, when we're live on air may not be the time to come, like, I don't know, digging your KY jelly out of your fucking cosmetic bag. Oh my God, Betty, you are all a fucking embarrassment to thinking people everywhere.
Protective orders. This family has spent more time trying to silence people than they've spent looking for Sebastian.
Well, how much time did it take Seth to get those braids? Because for one who's going to go on and on about how nobody's searching except him, well, sir, you spend an awful lot of time either on YouTube or in a courtroom or getting your hair braided. So how much time are you spending searching, sir?
We know for a fact that there's no proof that Sebastian walked out of that home.
We know for a fact there's how. First of all, how? How do you know that for a fact? Who told you that that's a fact? And how do you prove a negative? We know for a fact there's no proof that Sebastian didn't walk out of that home. How's that work? I'm just wondering. And if that's true, well, wouldn't that mean that law enforcement would know for a fact that he was taken out of that home, which would then mean at the very least, they would come out and say, one would think, he was taken out of the home by someone. And if it was his mother, and they had proof that it was a fact that he did not walk out of that home, well, would that then not mean that either someone entered the home unaware of by Katie, or it was Katie or Chris themselves? Which would that not in turn then initiate some type of, at the very least, statement from law enforcement, you would think?
And it makes you wonder what else they're lying about, Vinny.
It makes me wonder what your client and Betty might be lying about.
It makes you wonder what would happen if Sebastian would have been able to file a protective order against his stepfather.
Seth, your reaction to what happened and what is happening in all of this?
My professional opinion.
You're not a professional fucking anything, are you? So what would your professional opinion be? Seth, it sounds like you've spent a little bit too much time around Bullhorn Betty. Betty is not a fucking professional anything at all, except maybe a professional asshole. So what kind of professional are you? I'm just wondering. Sounds like you're drinking. Are you and Betty sitting around getting your hair braided, drinking your own Kool-Aid?
I would say something along the lines of Chris and Katie did something to my son. They're using Sumner County to cover it up.
How old are you? How old are you? And let me just put, I love to say, keep it in perspective. And he's entitled to feel however he wants to feel. But I have noticed this. I have noticed that his rhetoric against his ex-wife has definitely ramped up since Betty has entered the picture. That I know. And I'm not the only one who's noticed that.
And to hide themselves from the actual.
Oh, and something else we need to keep in perspective here. What they all want you to believe is that Chris and Katie and Chris's parents, apparently, they've all bought the silence and the complicity of the justice system. You know, I don't know anything about their finances, but I will say this. I've known some very, very wealthy people who have had family members who have found themselves in trouble. And do you know what kind of money it takes to buy your way out of criminal behavior? First, you've got to find a judge who doesn't care about his career, and is willing to take doesn't care about their career, and also is willing to be sitting on the other side of the robe and the gavel. Oh, I'm sure that's really easy. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry that y'all just keep it in perspective. Okay. There's been uber wealthy people that couldn't buy their way out of their criminal behavior. But these clowns want you to think that Chris and Katie and Chris's parents are buying the silence and the complicity of law enforcement. A judge, no less.
Law.
You're clowns.
And let me ask you, Seth, and we have no independent information. We know that police are saying there's no suspect. No one's been named.
That's legalese for, are you going to prove any of the wild accusations you just made?
As a suspect in any of this. But this seems to be, at least from my perspective, Seth, is it a change in the way you are seeing what has transpired?
Vinny, you think the same thing too? I wonder what's the common denominator?
Through all this, are you
A not so bright woman with no job and really bad hair
seeing things differently than you did before?
I wonder why.
It's the evidence. I still believe my son is alive.
There is no evidence.
I still believe he's somewhere.
Then maybe get your ass off that chair that you better be careful swirling around. You know, they don't make those things so great. Yeah, maybe spend less time on social media and I don't know, go look.
But the fact is that he was at their house last.
Mm-hmm.
There is no evidence that he ever left the house.
Well, I hate to burst your bubble here, but obviously he left the house because he's not in the house. We don't know how he left the house, whether it was voluntarily or unwillingly, but he left the house. So, you're wrong.
And they, as Tony has stated, they have spent more money and time.
How do you know? Not you, not Tony, not Betty. Not one of you idiots have any idea how much money they have spent.
Trying to get people to not speak about Sebastian.
Maybe they're trying to get people to stay off their street with night vision goggles at 4 a.m. in the morning while talking about machetes and reciprocity and like everything she talks about. She, yet again, she doesn't even know what reciprocity is.
Then, speaking about Sebastian, Sumner County has.
Don't confuse having the dignity and the IQ points to understand that social media is not your friend. Don't confuse that with not caring.
Come out since April with anything. And
have you ever heard of a case called JonBenet Ramsey? Yeah, same kind of situation. As far as, you know, there was a long time where nobody came out with any information, years as a matter of fact.
Katie won't come out and speak, won't ask for help.
She shouldn't.
Find Sebastian. I really have to say that she never loved her.
You don't. Oh, this is so fucking gross. This is so gross. Let me just back this up just a second. I would not have interrupted him had I known it was at this part.
He won't ask for help to find Sebastian. I really have to say that she never loved her son. And
Wow. You are what you eat. Birds of a feather flock together. Water seeks its own level. You know what I would say to you? I would say you are listening to the hateful, deranged rhetoric of a miserable, delusional bitch. And the mother of your child is going to be in your life forever. Do you think Bullhorn Betty is going to be in your life forever? Bullhorn Betty is going to be in your life as long as it's putting money in her bank account. Of course, that's going to get infinitely harder to do because now she's got to pay the attorney's fees of your ex-wife. And then, all those other little lawsuits she's got floating around out there. I mean, I feel sorry for you. I do. You are obviously someone who is very easily led. You don't seem like the sharpest knife in the block.
on top of that, I have the DCS reports that I've written that I have literally took me an attorney to get them.
And that to me, that I'm gonna take up for him on this. That's bullshit. If your child is the subject of any DCS, DCF, CPS, whatever it's called in your town, if you are the legal parent / guardian of that child and that child is subject to a report, you should absolutely be able to access those reports. If the other party can see them, he should be able to see them. And you should never have to get an attorney for that. But what I will say is if that is true, and Sebastian was the subject of one or more reports, when he said earlier, I wish Sebastian could get a restraining order against his stepfather. Well, you know what I thought? I thought those reports, CPS basically is the agency that would, and this is metaphorically speaking, but if that case had been founded or the report had been found, the accusation had been founded as opposed to unfounded, which is my understanding, well, then that would have been him having a restraining order. But that didn't happen. I don't know why. I'm not even going to speculate why. All I can do is say, clearly, whoever investigated the report declared it was unfounded. Unsubstantiated.
Sebastian deserves a restraining order from those two psychopaths.
Well, let me ask you something, sir. If you feel this strongly, why didn't you do something about it back then? Where were you? If you were an integral part of your son's life, whether that was every other weekend, one night during the week, why am I getting the impression that all of this is something you're just finding out about? I mean, clearly you knew about the reports. So why didn't you do something?
Tony,
Why did you leave him in harm's way? Because if it was me and it was my kid and I had a genuine, true, heartfelt belief that something bad was happening to my child, there's no fucking agency on the face of this earth that's going to stop me from protecting my kid. Period. End of story. There have been plenty of people who've done it throughout history.
now you've accused them of lying, the Proudfoots, right? So what were they lying? What were they lying about from your perspective? And again, we have no independent information or confirmation that they said anything that was untrue.
Translation, no evidence.
Or verification that what they said was true.
And just so nobody misunderstands, I'm not on Chris and Katie's side. I see two people who, when they came out initially and were talking to the press, I was not impressed. They have learned from the error of their ways, quite apparently. Don't take anything I'm saying as me commenting on their guilt or innocence. I'm doing what everybody else should be doing, and I am giving them all the presumption of innocence.
Either way. But what were they lying about from your perspective, and what's the evidence from your perspective that they are not telling the truth?
Well, they actually were lying, and it was proven in court that they were lying about what they stated in the protective orders, which was that she had had physical contact with them.
Well, since quite unfortunately, we're only going to get it from your mouth. So we either believe what Tony says, or we go with what the man in the robe with the gavel, who is the jury is the finder of fact, but we don't have a jury here. The judge applies the law to the facts. I'm going to go with the guy in the robe and the gavel over the guy in the fucking too tight golf shirt that looks like he needs a training bra.
She was following, stalking, and harassing them.
Check.
And even on the stand,
Check.
Mr. Proudfoot admitted that he had never met her in person. So,
have you ever heard of a woman by the name of Rebecca Schaefer? Just hold that thought. Rebecca Schaefer.
So in my opinion, it's a little difficult to be stalking somebody that you've never met in person.
Like I said, have you ever heard of a woman named Rebecca Schaefer? She was an actress back in, I think it was the 90s. Yeah. Or a lot of other people in the media will just say actresses, actors. Do you mean do you know what a dumbass you sound like? Do you mean to tell me you think that the only way someone can be stalked or harassed is if you knock on the door and say, "Hi, I'm Bullhorn Betty. Nice to meet you. And fuck you, by the way. I'll be driving down your street at 4:00 in the morning wearing night vision goggles." Do you know how dumb you sound? How many celebrities do you think have gotten restraining orders against these super creepy fucks that go a little bit too far? Do you think they've sat down and had dinner with them? No. You don't have to personally meet somebody for them to be stalking you. The thing that's brought you to nationwide fame, Tony, social media. Don't you feel like we know each other, even though we're hopefully never going to meet?
And it goes to the many.
Folks, this is what you get when you hire a non-professional to do a professional's job.
Inconsistencies that have been told by Mr. Proudfoot since the very first interview.
Logic and reasoning clearly are not his strong suit. And what he's saying may be very well true about Chris Proudfoot. I don't know, because I'm not one of these weird YouTubers who is more worried about Sebastian Rogers and his parents and his extended family than I am paying attention to my own. He may be absolutely correct. I'm just going at this from your normal, everyday person, and the logic.
Not one of his interviews have matched up, Vinny.
And what's been
when you say
presented in court, not the court of public opinion,
interviews haven't matched up,
or fashion court.
You're not talking about. So I just want to make this clear to everyone watching. You're talking about the disappearance of Sebastian, not about Bullhorn Betty.
They don't know what. Listen, Vinny, clearly they didn't answer your question.
Case.
Yeah, the Bullhorn Betty lies were just another long string in the lies that they've told since the beginning.
Sir, nobody lies more than Betty. So nobody has to tell lies to make Betty look bad. You just tell the truth and she looks horrible.
If you go back and break the interviews down from the very first interview they did all the way from Nancy Grace and beyond before they quit coming out in public, you can
quite wisely, because they know that they were doing themselves no favors giving public interviews. The only people they seem to care about giving interviews to, law enforcement. Your client could take a page out of their book. He's got a failed flunky at life, wannabe insert career in blank YouTuber who has had criminal behavior for decades and someone who at the very least has filed bankruptcy a million times. Mm-hmm.
Can see one inconsistency after the next. And the great thing about telling the truth, Benny, is when you're doing that, it's always the same. It doesn't change.
You don't say.
So what's the most material inconsistency that you believe has been stated from Chris and or Katie?
Regarding Sebastian?
No, regarding the fucking man in the moon. I mean, this started out as about Betty, like all things. But for some reason, that's not what you want to talk about.
Absolutely. That's what I care about at the end of the day.
Oh, them too.
Absolutely. Many inconsistencies
absolutely.
told about the phone calls, the time of the phone calls, the bed times, what happened after he went to bed. Just, you know, that entire 10 to 12 hour period, many inconsistencies.
Says who? Says you or says law enforcement? Because, and I don't know the answer to that question, but just as a lay person with an above average intellect, I have to think that if all these inconsistencies existed and there was proof of these inconsistencies, well, enough inconsistencies with proof that they are lies, because that's what an inconsistency is. I have to tend to believe that they would, at the very least, be named persons of interest. They have not been.
Also, not rock solid alibis, and a lot of time that's unaccounted for. They were also probably.
That may very well be the case. I don't know. But I'll echo what I just said. Many inconsistencies, not rock solid alibi, and time unaccounted for. I mean, sir, I think I'm older than you are. I've been following true crime for decades, and typically what all plus equals typically a charging document or an indictment by a grand jury. That's, you know, if all those things truly exist, especially an abundance of, well, that, like I said, that typically equals indictment by grand jury or a charging document by a state's attorney.
The biggest thing, Benny, is that they told Nancy Grace that they were told by TBI not to take a polygraph.
Nancy Grace is a washed up tragedy pimp. She's the OG tragedy pimp. Okay. So save your Nancy Grace spiel.
And we found out later from
Nancy Grace is still milking Keith. Gee, I wonder why I know her fiance's name that got killed. Oh, I don't know, because she never failed to mention it every episode since 1991, maybe.
TBI that is 1,000% not accurate.
All right. I'm sorry. I missed that because I was talking. Let me go back. I want to hear that again.
Not to take a polygraph, and we found out later from TBI that is 1,000% not accurate.
Okay, well, let me tell you something. He may be right. I don't know if he's right or not. There is a reason. Number one, any lawyer worth his salt would fire you as a client if you took a polygraph. And second reason, and much more important, there is a reason a polygraph is not admissible in court and likely never will be. And there is zero circumstance in this fucking world where I would take a polygraph. Just to let you know, it's an investigative tool. And of course, law enforcement would love everybody to take polygraphs. That doesn't mean you should.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
People like Betty take polygraphs. People who think they're so much smarter than everybody else. Yeah, I'm the smartest one in the room. As long as the room is my junk drawer.
Tony Mathis, Seth Rogers going to stay with us. We've got more to talk about. We're going to take you inside the courtroom so you can hear some of the
Horrible thing to say.
testimony
She
from
never
today.
loved her son.
And you'll see Chris Proudfoot on the witness stand. Just want to make
You know, Seth, oh God, you asshole. You know, I get it. You hate Katie. We all get it. It's abundantly clear. Actually, you know what? I tend to believe that's actually not the truth. I think you are not that bright. I think you're very easily led, which is why you need spokespeople and spokespeople like the ones you have. I think you actually probably really care quite a bit about your ex-wife. I think you're having a little temper tantrum, but let me tell you this, whatever the case may be, I could be completely wrong. I don't have the hubris that these other, like the ass clowns like you surround yourself with. I don't have the hubris to think that I know what goes on in your life or your relationship with your ex-wife or your son. None of that. I would never say anything of the sort. I'm just going off of what I'm observing. But I can tell you this, sir. I don't know what kind of you say your son's alive, and I hope to God he is. Do you want your son to hear you say about his mother? I don't think no, he didn't even say, I don't think. He said she never loved him. Wow. Oh, but you love your son so much, huh? That you think he's alive. And you want him to someday hear his father say his mother never loved him. You're disgusting. And I'm telling you, you are getting some horrible advice.
it clear, like the First Amendment
So
versus
sad.
prior restraint of speech
How
is
sad.
serious.
You know what, Seth? What you should very much keep in mind, you are taking advice about parenting and your relationship with your ex-wife from a woman who, thank God, never was able to propagate the species that is her.
Business.
No,
And
I think
the
we're
judge made a
losing
decision
that.
today keeping her away from them. But how far did it go towards what she can say about this case? We'll be
Probably
back.
not far enough.
Have other people contacted you based off of Ms. Griffin's conduct on her social media accounts?
Hundreds.
Okay.
I have no problem at all believing that. None.
How often does that happen?
Daily.
Because let's think about it. That clown has 35,000, give or take, last I looked, subs. I mean, just statistically speaking. I mean, I know people like Laura who are busy watching everybody else's pocket. Girl, I'm sorry. I digress. That's how you properly use the phrase, I digress. I forgot to mention this when we talked. Like, girl, you ought to worry about your own checkbook. Quit worrying about QBs or anybody else's. That is so cringy. That's why I said you need an abacus, because you're very busy doing math. Statistically speaking, 35,000 give or take subs. Well, it would stand to reason that you've got probably at least a couple hundred that, and God, my sympathies are with you. I cannot imagine what it would be like to look up to someone like Betty. I'm embarrassed for you. But yeah, it stands to reason that across all the platforms, then yeah, you would have hundreds of losers who have nothing else to do but add to the burden of these people.
Is it possible for you to avoid the media circus that surrounds Ms. Griffin's conduct?
Absolutely
I don't
not.
know how it would.
Have people got your personal phone number that way?
Yes, sir.
Have they gotten your email?
And I'm sure
Yes,
what
they
most
message you on-
people are thinking are, well, change your phone number, get a new email. Yeah, you can do that. But why should he have to? It's a hassle. It's an inconvenience. It costs money.
Facebook?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's Chris Proudfoot. Bullhorn Betty goes online.
And I hate this. I hate. And Betty, girl. On one hand, I'm going to say I hate this. I hate that you're getting this kind of national exposure by Court TV. But here's my thoughts on Court TV. I watch Court TV from their inception, the Menendez trial. Like on the days where you had to record the live streams on VHS, for those of us who actually worked. I've been a fan of Vinnie Politan. However, I'm going to say this. I see the writing on the wall. Look for Vinnie Politan to be retiring sometime in the near future, I would say. Because when Court TV lets you go rogue from your basement, talking about the same stories you're talking about on Court TV. Well, that tells me something. And it tells me just what I said. My guess is Vinnie Politan is going to be retiring, whether of his own volition or the other kind of retiring, soon. And I like him. I've always liked him on Court TV. I'm not such a fan in the basement. I'm much more a fan of the highly scripted version. So yeah. So on one hand, I hate that she's getting this national exposure. Her name is in his mouth. But then I go back to, it's not for anything good. She's a fucking clown. That's why. So
Provides information, and apparently her viewers or followers are sending messages and attempting to contact Chris Proudfoot.
And hello to anybody who came in. I'm in the other window. Y'all know, I'm horrible at the chat. I'm sorry. I appreciate all of you. I'm just not good at the chat. And I now have 2 monitors, so I can not be good at the chat. Only one is on though. So, it's kind of, we're going back OG days, but hello, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. I'll be back over in the chat when this is over.
So the judge's decision has prevented Bullhorn Betty from contacting the Proudfoots. But what I heard in the decision was, it sounds like she can still talk about them. She just cannot contact them through social media, cannot contact them through text or email or any other way. He's got to stay away from them.
And as I stand here, I don't know what the limitations are on her because the proceedings were not broadcast. I heard a lot of what Cluminati said, but Vinnie Politan, like him or not, he is an attorney and he knows what he's reading. So I'm going with what he says. And if what he says is what the ruling says, well, then what's her fucking problem?
I understand that decision. Whether you agree or disagree, it's up for debate, but that's the judge's decision. But it seems that she can still.
Well, Vinny, come on now. Vinny, you are a member in good standing of the Bar Association. You have respect for the robe and the gavel. These clowns, they have none of the above, and they have no respect for anything.
Talk about them. Now, Chris Proudfoot was asked another important question when it comes to a restraining order, right? To prevent someone from going somewhere or contacting someone. There's got to be a reason. He's asked, why are you afraid of Bullhorn Betty? Take a listen.
What are you afraid of from Andrew Griffin?
And I do believe that is Betty's attorney speaking. Who, by the way, I'm only going on what I have heard, the little bit that's, been firsthand via the court or the media, and not the fake media with, print your own presspass.com i.e., Betty's HP inkjet that she can't afford ink for. I'm only going on what I've seen and what people who were in the courtroom said. I am not at all impressed with this attorney. And what really sticks out to me was the judge telling him that his avenue of redress for all of Betty's, various gripes was an appeal of his ruling, not a, I don't know, 6-0 something, not a number, insert number, motion. Wow, that's rather embarrassing. It gives a little credence to some of the people that bothered to look up his reviews online. I couldn't care less what his reviews are. But I got to say, I don't know. I don't sound, I'm not overly impressed with anything I've heard about the proceedings.
What am I directly afraid of, sir? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Reciprocity
Well, when you make
used incorrectly.
a video threatening that you want to bring a gun from another state to this state, directly in videos related to me, my wife.
Yeah, Betty thought that reciprocity meant reciprocity really means you can purchase. No, wait. How did my husband explain this to me? I think. Okay. So reciprocity means if you have a concealed carry, which we no longer do in Florida, we are not open carry, but if you were eligible or you had a concealed carry in the past via, our statutory requirements to have such, even though we did away with it, you could carry concealed in the state of Tennessee. You did not have to get a concealed carry in Tennessee. Betty thought it meant that because she had a concealed carry in Florida, that she could roll on into any gun shop in Tennessee, purchase a gun, and start carrying. Yeah, not so much. And I actually had reciprocity the last time I was in Tennessee. I have family in Knoxville, as I've told y'all many times. We went to a very well-known, it's not just a gun store, but that's, I would imagine, the bulk of their business. They also had, bows, camping, hunting, things like that. But the bulk of what people go there for, I would imagine, are firearms. They, make holsters, etc. I had a couple of family members that day who had concealed carries in Florida. They purchased firearms in Tennessee. But guess what? You don't get to walk out of the damn store with it because you have to comply with federal laws. So you do your background check, your 2-day waiting period. You, of course, pay for it. And after that, they will ship it, wait for it, not to your house. It has to go to another licensed gun dealer in the state of Florida. And bitch, that is reciprocity.
Wife, my family, that's a threat, plain and simple.
Okay.
She also said she was going to bring a machete, for the record.
Oh, that was just hyperbole. I mean, well, Betty calls it hyperbole. The educated people call it hyperbole. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, why would that
Let's bring
bother
back
you,
in
sir?
Seth Rogers, Sebastian's dad.
How do you think about it? If you're Chris Proudfoot and you don't know anything about this dumb bitch, except for the fact that, she's been driving around your neighborhood at 4:00 in the morning. She's got your son's image and his name in her mouth every day of the week. She's telling people that, hey, if you went to school with him, if you know anything about him, I'll protect you. I protect my sources, even though I don't know. I don't have any standards in life. I No ethics, no standards. But my pretend press pass journalistic standards, I protect my sources. Yeah, kind of like Deep Throat. Like, so you don't know anything about her. This is all you know of her. Are you going to tell me you wouldn't be a little unsettled by all of that? And I would say to you, if you're not, then you're not normal.
And Tony Mathis, just a quick clarification. Everyone's watching that.
Are they going to hold hands? Like,
Was she threatening to
why are
bring a
they
machete
sitting
to
on
go
top of
after
each
the
other?
Proudfoots?
Oh, I love this answer. This is comical. Seth, I hope you're not paying him too much. Whatever it is, it's too much. He's not quick on his feet.
Well, Vinny, you being one of the better investigative reporters in this case.
He's not an investigative reporter, sir. He is an attorney anchor at Court TV. Okay.
You know that if you take
Betty is an investigative reporter.
a 4 or 5 second clip out of an hour-long video.
Really? I would agree. However, not in this case.
You can twist that and turn that into anything you want.
You don't have to do that. You don't have to play Twister with this particular set of machete facts, and you know it.
Want it to be. When she was talking about the things that she was going to need to be walking through these heavily wooded areas, one of the things that she mentioned she would probably.
Was she going to need these? Like, I don't know. Betty, oh my God, fucking idiot. Like, seriously, Tony, I'm embarrassed for you. Although I will say, I mean, I'm going to give you partial credit. Oh God. Like,
probably need
wow.
is a machete, but you don't get to see all that because
Bullshit. It was like all her threats, poorly veiled, and you know it.
that doesn't fit the narrative. Does that make sense?
On top of that,
You don't have to spin a narrative, sir. Would you? I'll be happy to play the 5 minutes before and the 5 minutes after. Would that make you happy? It's still going to paint her in the same shitty light.
if she had stated that she was going to bring a machete, don't you think the felon that made the video?
She did state that she needed a machete. I mean, even she is not so dumb as to come out and say, I'm going to bring a machete to your state and I'm going to. And who's the felon that made the video? I don't know who that is.
For the Proudfoots would have actually clipped that in there?
I don't know who he's talking about, so pass.
And it wasn't clipped in there.
Sorry,
And
I
if
can't
you
answer your
notice,
question.
The attorney, that shyster that was sitting there representing.
Are you serious right now? Are you serious? Do you know what a clown you look like? You look like you, rather than guarding the prisoners, you look like you are one with really bad braids. Are you serious right now? A shyster. Do you understand that you are talking to an attorney? And much like, I mean, I know these probably are not the people you run around with and socialize with, but I can tell you this. Whether you like them or not, and I think a lot of attorneys, you know, like the old joke, what do you call a million dead lawyers at the bottom of the ocean? A good start. I mean, at various times in my life, I've felt that way. And then I've had some lawyers that every time that check hits my bank account to this day, I still say thank you. So, I've been on both sides of that. But what I do know is that you look like you just look like a fool. You are telling a lawyer on a legal channel that shyster. Sir, I can tell you they could have a disbarred attorney that they were speaking about, and they would not call him a shyster. It's a brotherhood, kind of like Freemasons, etc. It's kind of I don't know. You don't belong to any professional organizations, do you? But carry
the
on, please.
Proudfoots and the Bauer Sox, when they asked Chris the question, "Have you been contacted?" They never asked who.
This is what you're hanging on. Do you think that her unhinged fucking nut jobs, that their lives and their intellect are so deficient that they look to Bullhorn Betty as their leader? Do you really think that when they call, and I have no doubt they have reached out in every form available, text message, gee, I wonder where they might have gotten their texts, their phone numbers. When they reach out via text, via email, via YouTube, whatever, drive by, knock, knock, carrier pigeon. Do you think that they're giving their names? No, they're not. You sound like such a fool. You're the only one who doesn't.
Hello there to you folks. JB here with you in the Stream Center alongside meteorologist Amanda Holly.
Damn it, I yeeted myself. I'm so sorry. Oh God, how do I get back where I was? Hold on. I'm gonna shut that down. Let me get my glasses. It was almost over. I mean, he is maddening to me. He acts as if because Chris could not give the first, last, date of birth and social of the people harassing them. And listen, I would tend to believe that even Betty, Seth, Tony, well, of course, not for TV where Seth is concerned, but I would think that all of them could not with a straight face deny that they were harassed. All right, I got it back. We're going to finish this up and what is it? It's 4 o'clock. All right. We are going to hit the 3-hour mark and then we're going to be done. Famous last words, right? Oh God, I have to, if for no other reason, I have to go to the bathroom. All right. All right. Carry on.
Contacted them because nobody that is on Betty's team or my team.
Your fucking team consists. Okay, so we got the t-shirt maker to the stars. We got TikTok Tony. I mean, your team. You act like your team is an NFL team, counting the bench riders and the water boy. Give me a break.
Is actually reaching out to speak to these pathetic excuses for parents.
Oh, there you go. Yet again, you sound mature, you sound intelligent, and most of all, you do not sound bitter. Sir, I'm going to tell you again, you are getting some very bad advice. Which is what happens when you get non-professionals masquerading as professionals. Here is the result. I cannot stress enough to you, and I say this as one who has sympathy for you, because of the circumstances that I'm assuming you find yourself in. Because see, I'm not like Betty. I'm not going to accuse you of being part of your son's disappearance. I would never do such a thing. Although there's plenty of people that will, including you, to your son's mother and his stepfather. And I guess that's your right to do that. But you sound like a fool. You, sir, you are making an absolute fool out of yourself on national television. You are doing yourself no favors.
And Benny, if you actually listen to what was said there in
Mean
court,
mugging for the camera.
the attorney asked the question, have you been contacted by people regarding things that Betty has been saying?
Right.
The people that
She has spent months doing everything that I don't need to repeat again. Like, What the hell are you talking about?
That are
You're full of
contacting
shit.
Chris are his people. They're not Betty's people. They're contacting Chris saying, this is what Betty said today. This is what she said yesterday.
I don't believe you.
Well, all you've got to do is tell those people, if you don't want to hear it, to quit contacting you.
You know what? Maybe you want to tell your friend Betty the same damn thing. Sir, let me ask you this. Do you believe maybe you should be Betty's PR person or her handler, because you're doing such a great job with this one? Let me ask you this. Do you believe that people have put tracking devices on Betty? Do you see the parallel here? Betty wants to have it both ways. On the left hand, she wants to be harassing and stalking this family. And on the right hand, she wants to cry victim and say that people are putting tracking devices on her. Do they also talk to her from the fillings in her teeth? She called the FBI because someone put the word grifter in her chat, letter by letter. And something tells me Blank Screen didn't even get to ask Vanna to buy a vowel before she called the FBI. You are all clowns. You're all the clowns that came out of the little clown car.
That shouldn't make you afraid of a 5-foot female as a.
Let me tell you something. I'm afraid of any 5 foot. First of all, she's not 5 foot. Okay. It's funny because you idiots, you drop her height a few inches. I don't know. Could that maybe be? She's been 5'2" all along. Soon as I said I was 4'11", Betty's now 5 foot. I know Betty wants to be me. I don't blame her. So you've dropped her height and her weight. But I can tell you this. I'm afraid of a 5th grader who's got a weapon and a purpose. Does that answer your question? And a lack of supervision.
The man that has a strong history of being able to deal with females.
So let's refocus now and get back to where.
Oh, okay. I know what he's talking about. And that may very well be true. I'm not going to comment on that. I have my thoughts on Chris.
What this is really
But
about, which is finding your son.
Doesn't matter what my thoughts are.
So Sebastian, I'm sorry. Yeah. To find Sebastian.
Wow.
Your relationship with Sebastian's mom seems at this point is completely non-existent.
Yeah, because of Bullhorn Betty. Listen, I'm going to tell you something right now. You think your son is alive. I hope to God he is. And you would sacrifice a healthy, even civil, fuck healthy, civil. You would sacrifice a civil co-parenting relationship because Seth, here's the part you don't seem to get. It's about your son. It's not about you. And all of this has come about since Betty has joined the team. Wow. There used to be this TV show. Your hair kind of reminds me of it. Mr. T, the A team, except you're the F team. Yeah. Other than that, same thing.
I know early on there was talk about trying to work together, and it seemed like you were trying to come together to do something, but that just doesn't exist. So what is the status of the search? You guys
are all the same. You're petty, you're immature, and you have no impulse control.
For Sebastian, as you sit here tonight, what is going on? Who is doing what, whether it's law enforcement, any private organizations, members of the public, whoever? What is the status of all of that?
We have we have over 50 people that are working on this case.
How many are YouTubers? My guess would be 45.
Investigators, FBI. Been working with the
I hope
FBI.
so.
It's how we got a reward out there. Sumner County, the people that are in charge of Sumner County.
My understanding is Sumner County is still the lead agency on the case. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong. I can tell you this. I don't think it is a wise move to alienate. I don't care if you hate their guts. I don't care if you think Sumner County are the most inept bunch of Barney Fife law enforcement to ever wear the badge and holster a gun. They are still in charge of finding your son. And you think it's a good idea to come on court TV looking like you just walked out of Wentworth, sitting next to a guy who needs a training bra, flexing that you're sitting on the side of Bullhorn Betty over your son's mother, and you're going to alienate them and tell everybody what a shit job they're doing. You can think that shit. You're entitled to think that all day long. But I can promise you this. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know. If it was me, and I thank God it never was. But if God forbid, I had found myself needing to rely on law enforcement or anyone else to help me find my child, I am not going to sit back and shit talk them. I mean, you really are not that bright, are you? Wow.
Refuse to connect the dots.
I'm still waiting to hear what the dots are. I've heard a lot of angry, hateful rhetoric with nothing, no proof to back it up. Because if your allegations are true, then why, at the very least, have they not been named? Chris and Katie, persons of interest.
So we have to go beyond Sumner County. My son is somewhere, and me personally, I believe Katie knows.
Vinny, you can tell that we're.
And she might. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not. I'm only basing. I'm not on a side. I'm on Sebastian's side. I pray to God he's out there and he's found. As I said in the beginning, there's 3 parents, and I only see one that is displaying a lack of dignity, a lack of class. And I'll just leave it right there.
A little bit more uptight tonight than we usually are.
Oh, really? I must have missed all that.
But we've watched the antics. We've watched Chris smile and laugh and joke in court when we've got a broken father and Seth that's missing his son.
I see. And you know what? I'll give him the benefit of that doubt, and I'll say I'm sure he is. Why don't you put that pain and that energy into searching and don't stop until you find your answers? But I can tell you this, your answers are not going to come from Dick Tac Tony or Bullhorn Betty.
You guys sent a very, very professional, independent camera and photographer to cover this court case. A girl by the name of
I guess, wow, sir, you appear to be of the age where you remember what it was like before social media. I mean, are we this far removed from real fucking journalism that, like, I'm sorry, just because you have an internet connection and an iPhone or an Android and a microphone, that does not a journalist make. He's falling all over himself because they sent a cameraman out. Sir, how do you think they're going to get the story otherwise?
Athena. We found out after the court case was over that Chris looked.
Okay, this, talk about, sir, this is just one of the many reasons you, honey, don't quit your day job, whatever that is. Don't you do something with cranes? I think that's probably a pretty good living. I would stick to that because public relations and spokesperson, it's not your thing. This is one of the dumbest, most petty, gratuitous, embarrassing statements I've likely ever heard. And you do, Seth, if you're trying to get more gigs as a mouthpiece, make this interview disappear because this does not exactly make you look professional.
Looked at her and winked at her in the middle of the trial.
Was flirting.
We've got a real problem.
Oh my God. You know what? Fuck you. Okay. I'm going to say right here, right now, you two, one needs a training bra, one needs Betty's bra. Okay. You two have no idea. I don't know if this happened or not. Maybe it did. We'll just go with his assertion that this happened. First of all, I don't know how he would know exactly who he was looking at when said wink happened. But let's just go with Tony's scenario. And this fucking Wentworth over here who just cannot help himself. Tony, instead of a rubber bracelet, you should have put a rubber band on him and you should have held on to it through the whole thing. Hold it back like this, like a fucking boomerang, and tell him every time you let loose with some bullshit, I'm going to let it go. And it's going to be the snap heard around the world. I mean, since neither one of you are a female, and something tells me, oh, you're, never mind. I'm not going to go there. I will tell you this. I've had plenty of men wink at me, not in that kind of way. Men wink for all sorts of reasons. I find it hard to believe that this was some kind of, hey baby, what hotel did you say you were staying in? Well, I'm at the Yogi Bear campground, lot number 45. Yeah. I'll send the little lady out for milk. Come on over. Oh my God. You're fucking ridiculous. For all you know, listen, I know that there's a whole generation of woke people. I ain't woke. My husband doesn't wink at random women, but you don't have any idea what precipitated that, if indeed it did happen. And I'll go ahead and go with his scenario, but who knows? They could have been shooting the shit out in the hallway. She could have said, oh yeah, like obviously I pulled the short straw. I'm here to report on this bitch who thinks she's a member of the media. She doesn't even speak proper English. How the hell is she a journalist? And Betty made some verbal gaffe, like, I don't know, she does every third word. Who am I kidding? And I don't know, maybe he looked over at her and went, told you so. Who knows? But the point is, I'm pretty sure I've never heard, what sets a legitimate journalist apart, a true professional, apart from some ass clown with an internet connection and a microphone? You know what sets them apart amongst, other things like, I don't know, speaking the English language properly. Yeah, being fluent in the King's English. Well, I don't know. It could be professionalism, knowing when to just, I don't know, shut the fuck up. You don't need to say every stupid thing that flows between your two ears. Because when you do, you look rather stupid. But when you're not a professional, you wouldn't know that. Although, most people with a little bit of anything would know that. But yeah, point taken. I understand who we're talking about.
Problem with that when there's a missing child.
He's supposed to be married.
Yeah.
Ooh, better. Goodness, Seth, it sounds like you are getting a degree in bitter Betty. I think he is married. Yeah, is that what's making you so bitter?
Does not mean anything anymore.
Well, sir, I don't believe that you were able to keep your marriage intact. So who the fuck are you to give marriage advice? I mean, I've been married 100 times. I got a PhD in marriage. I finally got it right.
So let's talk about this now. There's going to be a lot of people watching right now and say, listen.
And he's like, who put these two clowns on my show? Like, yeah, we're having words. This is why I'm quitting. This is why I broadcast from my basement. Fuck Court TV. Folks, we'll be right back.
I want to do something. I want to help. What can they do?
Oh, buy a t-shirt from Sonia. Here's the things that we need here. Tony needs a training bra. Seth needs Betty's bra. Betty needs more things than I can even articulate. But at least throw the bitch a dictionary. Sonia needs Hooked on Phonics, punctuation edition. I mean, this is like, oh God, it's comical. But I thank you all for the endless, material that needs absolutely no preparation. And no, I don't mean preparation H, although, preparation H, KY. Yeah, almost the same thing where these fools are concerned.
A lot of things, Vinny. They can pray. They can continue.
Oh, thank you. Yes, pray. Definitely. And actually, that's very nice. Did Sister Christian tell you to say that? Who's writing the press release here? That's all I want to know. Tony definitely seems a lot more fluent in English than Betty does.
Continue to spread awareness.
You could buy one of Sonia's ugly, shitty t-shirts.
They can put flyers up.
Betty's flyers. So we've got Sonia's t-shirts, Betty's flyers, Betty's Jesus, because you got to pray.
They can talk about him in a positive way, regardless of which side of the family they support.
Okay.
Because remember, this is about Sebastian.
Sir, you should take your own fucking advice. I don't think for your client, I don't think this is about Sebastian at all. This is about someone who doesn't seem to be capable of articulating his own thoughts. Someone who needs a handler who doesn't seem to have enough sense to pick better handlers.
It's not about.
It's all
Seth,
about
it's not
Sebastian.
about Tony, it's not about Chris and Katie or any of the crazy grandparents.
And what the fuck have we been talking about for 13 minutes and 2 seconds?
It's not about any of that. This is about Sebastian. And if you.
Oh, finally, 13 minutes and 6 seconds in, it's all of a sudden about Sebastian. It's been about Betty. It's been about Chris. It's been about Seth. And now finally, it's about Sebastian. That poor child.
You are here for Sebastian. Your focus should be Sebastian, Wayne, Drake, Rogers.
Oh, like yours are? Like yours are? You and your other team member have done nothing but talk shit about everyone, whether it's the other parents, whether it's the YouTubers, including this fool sitting next to you.
That's it.
Oh, yeah,
Nothing
that's
else.
it. That's all. Send your super chats to. Oh, my God.
Absolutely.
He's the one missing.
Fucking ship of fools. This is the ship of fools. I just don't know who the captain is.
Unfortunately,
I know who the captain is not, and that would be the one talking.
the judge wanted to sit there and offer his condolences for our loss.
You do have a loss. Your son is not in your daily life. No one knows where he is. That is a loss. I understand what Seth is saying. And of course, he takes it in the worst possible context rather than, the judge trying to relate on a human level.
My son is missing. I understand that judge's child passed away. And
yet another thing you probably shouldn't have just, I don't know, but if my team member is going to keep going in front of the judge, I don't know. The smart money says defer from talking shit about the judge.
That made him emotional in this case. Judgment.
Maybe that makes him human. Don't ask Betty about that because she won't understand that.
From the judge should have been blind to begin with. He was emotional, and I'm pretty sure my son is lost. He is alive.
Then get off your ass and get off YouTube and go find him.
He is missing. All right, that judge buried their child.
Oh, sir, feel free at any time, because apparently the fucking reptiles or amphibians that are on your team, the cold-blooded ones, they haven't pointed out to you that this might be an appropriate place to appear to be a fucking warm-blooded mammal and say, and for that, I'm very sorry for his loss. And then if you must, which of course you must, then, but blah, blah, blah.
Seth Rogers.
Look, I'm not even in PR, and I've given you more good advice than these fucking idiots have given you the entire time they've been representing you. You're welcome.
Bastion is alive.
Well, get out of Betty's hotel room and go find him.
We're out of time for tonight, but I
God,
appreciate it.
I never thought I'd be so happy to be out of time. Oh, my God. Oh, well, wasn't that fun, kids? Well, I mean, so let's see. How long did it take me? I did a little bit of Laura, and I did 14 minutes, and we are, let's see. Oh, look, I'm 1 minute over the 3-hour mark. I did pretty good. Well, IB, how are you? Oh, God. Vinny. Vinny was sitting there. Oh, he's you're fired. I'm telling you, I maintain this, and I'll have my told you so moment when Vinny, I'm telling you, I think I couldn't tell you how many years Vinny's been on Court TV, but it's been a lot. What made me know that Vinny, either his contract is up, there's something's happening. My guess would be his contract is up. Because think about it. Do you see any other Court TV anchors live streaming from their basement? Vinny is really good in a highly produced national show. We'll just say highly produced. I've always liked him. I'm not such a fan of the basement live streaming, but I promise you, as soon as he fired up his own YouTube channel, I absolutely said to my husband, I think Vinny Politan is leaving Court TV. You don't see any other anchors on Court TV doing their own live stream from the basement. I mean, I would think at the very least, it's a conflict of interest. I mean, I get it. He's not pulling the numbers that his Court TV shows pull, but it's still a conflict. And I don't believe they would allow him to do that unless he was on his way out. And my guess would be it's a contract thing. I think his contract is likely up and somebody didn't renew it. I mean, that's just wild. Well, I say wild supposition, but it might be wild supposition, but I don't think it's an uneducated guess. That's just my guess. But, well, I mean, we all know BHB is a problem. Hey, Granny, how you doing? Andy C., how are you? Mystery. Yeah, it's, I mean, Vinny's, I wish I knew how long he'd been on there. It's been a long time. I know that. And I've always liked him over the years. I still like him. I Not so much the basement streams. And you know, he's at the disadvantage because he's coming from, although is it really? He's coming from a highly produced national platform to the basement, and it's obvious it's the basement. And I mean, some people like that. But if I were him, I'd be like telling his personal assistant, "Hey, look, get me somebody. I'll pay. I mean, I'm not going to pay what Court TV. Well, hell, maybe he pays more than Court TV pays. I don't know, but I know it was a rough go in the beginning." Hey, Catherine, how are you? Well, Abby, you know what? I think it's always tough when, you know, like it or not, Court TV is one of the OGs. Like I said, I remember recording OJ. I don't remember recording Menendez. I think I watched Menendez live, but I remember recording OJ on VHS tapes that are bigger than clutch bags that I have. Shit, they're damn bigger than this thing I got my lipstick in. He's kind of at a disadvantage because he is coming from a highly produced legacy. I mean, they were the OG in trial TV. But they know they have to adapt to social media. But Vinny comes from a time where you dealt with professionals. You were, you know, they might have been on the opposite side of the fence than you were, but you were still dealing with legal professionals. Look what it's turned into. You're talking about Bullhorn Betty, who appears, by the way, with wet hair in a shitty motel room with a dude that looked like he got his hair braided from the cons at Wentworth, and the pretend PR who's not PR dude. I mean, in some ways, I feel sorry for him. It's got to be like, for all the reasons I just said, your legacy media, at least in the criminal reporting genre, they are it. They are the OG. You dealt with nothing but professionals, other colleagues. And now, well, no wonder he's in his basement. I mean, now you're having to give national attention to people who are used to being on the other side of the bench. So I don't know. Vinny has my sympathies in many respects, but yeah, I think he'll be announcing his retirement at some point. Hey, C. Nikki, how are you? Stargazer Mom, how are you? Skid Row. No, it's Wentworth. He got his braids done at Wentworth. And hey, if Betty was in Europe, she would probably be in Wentworth. Oh my God. Well, IB, how are you? It does. It is so cringy and embarrassing. I am embarrassed for all you people who do not have enough sense to be embarrassed for yourself. I don't know why. Hey, Wolf Rider, how are you? Oh my God, you guys. I'm so sorry if you came in and I was just, I couldn't see you. Hey, Petty Crocker. Love that name. Oh my God. All right. I wanted to say hi before I said goodbye. I wanted to say hi and bye. Veritas, how are you? Hey, Tia. How you doing? All right, y'all. Damn, Yale. Yeah. Oh, listen, there were a lot of not so good looks to go around here. And I don't just mean braids. I don't just mean braids and training bras. No. Hey, B, how are you? Oh, Crazy Nurse, did you make it? Are you here, girl? You must be, because I saw somebody. Somebody's responding to you. Sweetie Cake. I love that name. Oh, y'all stand by. It's going to, I mean, honestly, all 12 of you that listen to me regularly, you know that I have refrained from talking about this because for multiple reasons, but my God, there comes a point when it's just like, enough. All right, kids, I'm starving. I need something to drink. I'm out of soda. Yes, I'm drinking soda today. Well, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. And today's Saturday. I might come in here tomorrow because I am supposed to have something to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I've got 3 different appointments, 3 different places, one of which is my hair. Like I said, girl, if you're listening, you can hit me with the garden hose. You don't have to blow me out. Just please find a place to do my roots. I'll come to your house. I don't care. I have a doctor's appointment Monday. Yeah, that's kind of like midday. I doubt I would go live after that. So Monday's out. Well, Tuesday is my hair. Wednesday's a maybe. Otherwise, I'll see you guys towards the end of the week. But it was good to come and hang out with you guys. It's been a minute, and I'm glad I got to give you a little Florida update. And thank you all so much, everyone who reached out and checked up on me. I appreciate you all so much. And wait, before I go, holy shit. Am I correct? Did I hear that StreamYard, you fuckers are charging $50 a month? Wow. I mean, when did that happen? I'm horrible. I rarely look at I have an account that I use for that stuff. I don't keep a lot of money in it. And as such, I don't check it. But I've been hearing people talking about StreamYard going up. What was it before? Like $35? I thought it was expensive before. Now, if I went live every day, I wouldn't think much of it. But $50? Shit. I mean, hi. What are you doing? The dog's in there. He's like, can you take me out, please? Hi. Okay. I promise I'm wrapping it up. He's so cute. You want to hear something funny about Bob? Bob, who I have seen Bob late night. Like if he needs to go to the bathroom and this is how Bob, okay, so when I get in bed, Bob gets in bed. And the way I know he's got to go to the bathroom at like 11, 12 o'clock at night, he'll come and he'll just stand next to me and stare at me. And then he'll start that whine, like they don't open their mouth, but it's just this really annoying, high-pitched, closed-mouth whine. That's how I know he needs to go to the bathroom. He's so lazy. I'll get up, I take him out. There's been more than one time where my patio outside, he will not even get off the patio. He'll walk over to like a plant on one of the quarters and lift his leg. And me, because it's 11, 12 o'clock at night and I just want to get back in bed, I'm like, oh my God, you're ridiculous. Hurricane Milton. We're beyond the outer bands. We're starting to get the real shit. It is blowing gusts of, I think in my town, we got every bit of 80 to miles an hour. He hadn't been out off the patio. He hadn't been on the leash. I would just open the door and stand there with him. I fully expected him to do his usual late night, like pee on the plant on the porch. Oh no. The rain, it's coming down sideways. The wind is blowing like I can't even describe it. This is the time that he decides he wants to take a walk. I swear to God. He went out in the middle of the backyard in 80-mile-an-hour wind and sideways driving rain. I was like, what the hell are you doing? Come on. And then the light bulb finally goes off as he's making his way back to the patio. Well, at the edge of the patio and the ground, there's a lot of standing water. Well, he didn't want to walk in the standing water. So he just kind of stood there staring at me. I'm like, no, bitch, my hair already looks like shit. You want me? No, come on. And finally he did, but he was all befuddled. I mean, he was like Betty in a hair salon. He was just standing there going, what the hell? What is this? How do I do this? But yeah, he's Bob, party of one. Your table is now available. He's just down there rolling on the ground, having a good old time. All right, kids. I'm so glad I got to come and hang out with you. It was fun. It was fun for me anyway. I hope it was fun for you. And I will see you either tomorrow or midweek sometime. All right, pussycats. Have a great day.